Now let's move to this developing story. We understand at least 5 people have been killed in a car accident on the M1 South near the Athol Oaklands off-ramp here in Johannesburg. According to reports, the incident happened while prisoners were being transported. Speaking now to our reporter on the scene, Hloni Mtimkulu. Hloni, thank you so much for joining us. We can still see the aftermath of the accident. What happened? When did it happen? What do you know?
Yeah, Sally, there's very little information that we have at the moment. We were hoping to speak to someone from either JMPD or the SAPS as one of their vehicles is involved here. But we called SAPS and they will not be speaking for the moment until they get a report. Then they'll be able to release a statement. But JMPD was on air with Bradan earlier today and they did say that there were 5 fatalities. And I'm going to step out of shot just so you can see just some of the aftermath, as you said, of what happened earlier. So there were 5 fatalities that were reported earlier on with multiple injuries as well. And the reports that we did get from the Joburg EMS media group was that, so it happened, as you said, between Colette Drive and Athol Oaklands. It was a SAPS vehicle transporting prisoners from court. It collided with a Ford Ranger. I think you might be able to see the Ford Ranger against the barrier, and there is a Mercedes, I think it is also. So we can't get much further than this. We have been asked to stay just where we are now, so we can't quite verify some of that. But there is a Ford, and I think that is a Mercedes there as well. And it is said that the driver of the bike allegedly lost control amid a road rage incident with a Mini Cooper that was traveling in the northerly direction, so on the opposite side of the road. They say 2 police officers and 2 occupants that were at the back, and then there were also multiple injuries as well. But more than that, we are hoping that there will be someone that we can speak to. Sally, I was told that they are getting someone, so hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more information. But as I said, Kolani Fihla was speaking to Bradan earlier and he confirmed that there were 5 fatalities. Yeah, Sally.
And do you know anything more about the prisoners that were apparently in court and then being, I presume, transferred back to a prison facility? First of all, it sounds from what you've told us that the possibility of an attempt to break these prisoners out of the van is pretty much ruled out based on the information we have currently. But secondly, do you know if any of those prisoners escaped?
Yeah, so we hopefully will be able to get answers to some of those questions, Sally, because as you said, it does seem that it wasn't anything like an attempted escape. It seems it was a road rage incident involving a car that was in the opposite direction, and then there was a collision that happened, and then it affected the southern direction. So no information out as yet. We just did see, just so you know, the forensic pathology services have just arrived, and they are, just in front of us, they are sorting out some of the paperwork. So we might be seeing some of the forensic pathology services driving in through maybe to retrieve some of those bodies. But in terms of the prisoners, in terms of the SAPS operations, what was going on, we don't have enough of those details yet, except that one of their vehicles was involved, but there were also civilian vehicles, which is normal vehicles that were involved as well, Sally.
Yeah, it's just really tragic, you know, a Monday afternoon on the highway in town. And such a deadly accident, and we can of course see that the bodies are still on scene covered, but still there is a very sad reminder of how things can go so horribly wrong. Yeah, Hloni, it looks like the highway in both directions is still closed. Am I correct?
No, so the M1 North is open now, and actually traffic on this side of the road traffic on the side of the road is moving, Sally. So when we arrived maybe 20 minutes ago, there was a bit of a hold up just by the bridge, but that's cleared now. So I can't work out if it's because that road is actually closed further down and traffic has been diverted elsewhere. And I think just maybe cars are on, because on the other side, we can see cars are on-ramping from the Athol off-ramp, on-ramp to the M1. So I think the road has been closed off further down, and then cars have been diverting and then making their way back onto the M1 after the scene of the accident, Sally. So I think, yeah, the M1 hasn't yet been opened on either side, just diverted and closed off somewhere else.
All right, so it's just a short stretch of the highway on both sides. It's closed. As you say, they need to get all the officials in to that area to move the bodies and I guess also move those vehicles. Do we have any information about the 5 people who died? Do we know if any of them are police members, any of them perhaps prisoners, or are we talking civilians at this point?
So from the statement, Sally, it says 2 police officers and 2 occupants that were at the back of 54, and then there are multiple injuries reported. So that's as much as we have at the moment. And even when the JMPD spokesperson, Hloni Mtimkulu, was speaking to Britain, he couldn't confirm very much more than that. So that information not yet available. As I said, I'm hoping, and they did say to me that they will get someone to speak to us. So hopefully we will be able to know a little bit more about what happened, who was involved also. But the personnel that are here are not doing any interviews. They're not speaking to us. We did try to try and get information from them, but none of that, nothing doing. We couldn't get any of that information. So in the next while, they did say they will get someone just to speak to us, just to find out. But as I said, the forensic pathology services have arrived. They have moved in. Those, as you said, the bodies are still there. And we see the Mercedes that's there, the Ford Ranger that's there, the bakkie that was involved, they said, in an accident with a car in the opposite direction. And both sides of the road are still closed at the moment, with traffic being diverted around in different ways, Sally.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that update. That's a tragedy on the highway on a Monday afternoon here in Johannesburg. Our reporter Hloni Mtimkulu. So it seems 2 police officers, possibly 2 prisoners who are being transported, and the 5th possibly then a civilian or a motorist. Hloni, of course, is waiting for further information. During the course of the evening, we'll bring you more news on that story as it comes through to us.